Lisa. Today I'm doing a card. It's a really easy card, and it can be a really good masculine themed card, and sometimes those are kind of hard, at least for me, to come up with. So it's real simple because it only uses one stencil and then a greeting stamp. This particular stencil is the Stripes Explosion, the 6x6 version of it from Crafter's Workshop. It can be any stencil that has some sort of central design, so it could be one of the round rosette kind of stencils. Those would work as well. I have a piece of Stampin' Up! Cardstock that I'm going to be doing my stenciling on. It's 4 inches by 8 1/4 inches. This is their Naturals White, which has a little flex in it. I really like it for stenciling and misting and such. The finished card is going to be 4 inches by 9 inches. So I've cut my designer paper 8 inches by 9 inches and scored it, and then this will go in a letter size envelope, so real easy to mail. A couple of extra pieces of paper that I'll be using in the assembly, and I have 3 ink colors and a little bit of embellishment. So to get started with this, I'm going to grab some scrap paper and start with my first ink color, and I'm going to be working from light to dark, starting with this green. This is Peeled Paint from Ranger. And I'm just going to place my stencil over here in the lower right corner area, or lower right side of the Naturals White cardstock. And because this is a pretty detailed stencil, I'm kind of working my sponge into the sections. I don't have to cover the whole thing, because I am going to be adding some other colors. Okay. Go off the edge there. Okay. And there's my green. Now, the colors working light to dark won't bleed or won't rub off on each other very much, but if you want to help that out some too, you can wipe your stencil off, and of course if you wash it off, that will definitely get all the inks off there. And I'm a little bit impatient, so I'm going to do mine just wiping it off. And then in the middle top area, I'm doing another color, in this case Rusty Hinge, which is also a distress ink. Any dye ink would work for this. Again, working that color in. You can kind of work it in and get it as dark or as light as you want. There's my rust, and then the last color that I'm going to do, wipe my stencil off, is going to be a dark blue, which I didn't have in a distress ink, but I have in Stampin' Up! Ink. This is Midnight Muse. It's one of their newer colors. It's an in color maybe from last year, but it's still good, and I love this color. Wonderful navy, but not a super dark navy. Now I'm over on the left side of the card, kind of towards the bottom. And this can get dark, so I'm not going to be too heavy-handed with it. Okay. All right. So now I've got my 3 colors on here. And I'm ready to add my greeting. The greeting I've picked says Happy Birthday to You, and I'm going to ink it up with a really dark brown ink. This is Colorbox's Fluid Chalk ink, and I know that will stamp really well. Ink that up good. The word happy is running away from me there a little bit. Okay. There's my greeting. Now I can go ahead and add this to the card as is, but I could also put something in the middle of these 3 little explosions there if I want to. And I have these Starburst designs from Studio Calico that I can put in here. I can use them as is in the natural look, or I can add some color to them. So let's go ahead on this particular card and let's just add them as is. Now if I wanted to add some color, I would take a marker, like a brown marker, and go over them, and I'll show you in a moment what that would look like. But for this particular card, I'm just going to use them as is and glue them on with some Tombow adhesive. And they almost line up with the sections here. You could use brads or buttons, any circular element you wanted to use, or you can leave it plain. Okay. We'll give that a second to dry, and while it's drying, I'm taking a piece of designer paper that matches one of my colors, my rust color, and I'm just going to tear this little strip that I have that's 4 inches long by probably 1.5 inches wide or so. It doesn't really matter. I just need a piece of this to go on the edge, and I also have some cardstock here that I'm going to be using, and I think I'll take a little bit of Tombow adhesive on this too to make it easy to glue down. Nearly out of adhesive. There we go. Okay, I'll slip that over. Okay. And then take my green card base. This is Old Olive paper from Stampin' Up. I'm not positive what company this designer paper is from. I think it's Studio Calico, but I'm not sure. It was something I had in my scraps. It's pretty old. Get that on a little bit crooked. I'm just gluing my torn designer paper down on the very end, and then I will glue this, once these are dry, to the front, and I have my card all finished. And I told you I'd show you what they look like if you add some color to them. I have another card that I made doing the same technique with the green and the orange and the blue, and this time I colored them in. So you can see the difference, whether they're natural or whether they have a marker coloring the sunburst. So you can kind of decide which one of those looks that you prefer. And that's it. It's a really simple masculine card. You can put a greeting on the inside or write in whatever you wanted to say. And again, it'll fit in a regular letter size number 10 envelope. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you'll check out my blog for other projects. And if you're not a subscriber to my YouTube channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. I do mostly scrapbooking process videos, but I do also do the occasional card video and lots of techniques and shopping videos as well. Thanks so much.